In this video, so this is the second video this week, it's actually starting what we're going to be doing out of Unit 7. Everything that we've been doing has been out of Unit 6 from our algebra workbooks. This starts things from Unit 7. So the first thing we're going to talk about in this video is arcs and sectors of circles, what they are, and how to find them. An arc is the section of the circumference of a circle. Remember, the circumference is like the distance around. So like you have your circle, and then it's just talking about like this little piece of the outside of it. Okay, it's like the crust on a piece of pizza. It's just the outside. So it's just a section of the outside of a circle. It's this part out here, how long that little arc is. The sector is a section of the area of a circle. So like if this were the whole circle, what the area of just a small part of it is. Now, the question we have to be able to figure out is, how can we tell what fraction of the circumference or what fraction of the area we're actually trying to find? So to figure that out, a key piece of information we need to know is that every circle is 360 degrees all the way around. So like if you start here and go all the way around, that's going to get you to 360 degrees. Now, we don't have all the 360 degrees in our sector or of our arc out here. If we did, we'd have the whole circle. We just have a small part of it. So what we do is we identify whatever this angle in here is. That's called the central angle of our arc or of our sector. And we just divide that by 360, and that gives us the fraction of the circle that we're actually focusing on. So let's look at an example of how to find the arc length and an example of how to find the sector area. First, let's start with arc length. Now, arc length is going to be just this out here. Essentially, we're looking at how long is this out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to find the distance around the entire circle, the whole entire circumference of this circle. And then we're going to multiply it by the fraction that gives just the part of the circumference that we want. So we're going to really have two things going on here. The arc length, the fraction of we want our arc covers 75 degrees of the entire 360 degrees. So whatever the whole entire circumference is, we are going to multiply it by the fraction that we're just looking at. So we're going to maybe put an arrow pointing to that and say fraction of whole circle. Okay, so this is the fraction of the whole circle. The whole circle is 360 degrees, but our arc just goes through 75 of those degrees. So we're going to find the entire circumference and then just multiply it by this fraction. Now remember, the circumference of a circle is given by 2 pi r. That's like the formula for finding the circumference of a circle. So we're going to take this fraction, we're going to multiply it by 2 pi r. And r is 5 here. That's the radius. So now if we take our calculator, we would just do 75 divided by 360 and see what we get there. Times by 10, probably, because 2 times 5 is 10. And then times it by pi. So when we do that, if we take this fraction, it ends up being that. If we take 75, we divide it by 360, we get that. And then times 2 and the 5 gives us 10. We're all multiplying here. Times pi. Now that ends up equaling 6.55 inches. Okay, so this would give us the length of the entire distance around the circle, but we're just going to multiply it by this fraction here, and that just gives us the fraction that we're looking for. We only want the arc that goes through 75 degrees of the entire 360 degrees. So this is the total circumference. And then you multiply that by the fraction of the whole circle that you're just looking at. Now let's do the same thing, but now we're talking about a sector of the circle. So this is more like area. The idea is the same though. So we would find the area of the entire circle and then just multiply it by the fraction that we're looking for. Now remember, arcs are just this little length on the outside here. Area is going to be talking about all of this area in here. Okay? So what we're going to do, let me zoom in a little bit so you can see this a little better, is we're going to just look at the area of the circle that is the sector that we want. So the whole entire circle is 360 degrees, but our sector only is going through 150 of them. So this is the fraction of the whole circle times, now we're going to do the area of the entire circle. And the area of a circle is pi r squared. So pi r, our radius is 6 squared. So we have the total area multiplied by the fraction that we're just looking at. So we're looking at the sector that goes to 150 of the total 360 degrees. And we're going to take the area of the entire circle and just multiply it by that fraction. And then we'll get just the area of this sector. So when we do that, 150 divided by 360 is 0.4167. Times 6 squared is 36 pi. If you were to multiply all that out, you could leave the pi, or you could just multiply it all. You get 47.12 inches squared, because we're talking about area. So that's how you find the length of just a part of the circumference, which we call an arc, or the area of just like a wedge of the circle, which we call a sector. Hope this video was helpful. Go ahead and try the next practice and see how you do.